Hey guys, how are y'all doing? Coach Beck, Dr.
There we
Gilbert's
go.
on here. Can you hear me, Aaron?
Gotcha. How you doing?
Good, buddy. Um, Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for inviting me.
Congrats on another great year.
Appreciate it.
Hey,
Appreciate it.
I love sharing nuggets with people. Y'all, while Aaron Beck is the head coach at Fort Worth All Saints. And Aaron, let's see. Say something, Aaron, so you'll pop back up again.
Hey guys.
Okay, so behind Aaron, y'all, you see all these college hats. So anybody at All Saints who signs a scholarship, he has a cap of that school in his office. And I guess you have the kids sign the cap. Is that how you do it, Aaron?
And the autograph, it just turned into a tradition. Over a decade ago, you sign the hat, write your number, and you got a place to come back and bring your kids someday.
I love it, man. How many caps are in there?
Oh my God, 108.
That is so cool. Like little mini helmets would take up too much room, but so I love the hat idea, buddy. So I wanted to share that with people. So y'all, thanks for being on here. I shared this with my um email list. And so guys, this will be recorded. If you want the recording, email me, I'll send it to you. It'll go in our vault as well. There's some fast and wide coaches on here, and I'm going to start another group called the Field House, which will just be a football only group, and it won't be offensive specific. And anyway, so we've got a bunch of guys on here, 40 guys. Wow, pretty fired up about that. Here's my analogy, fellas, and I'm going to introduce Coach Nally. Is if you're doing something from 20 or 30 years ago, then it's been improved upon. So, warm up. We're playing Coach Nally this year, and I'm looking at their warm up, and I'm going, this is really cool. Well, some of us in this 40 people are doing the same warm up you did 20 years ago, and myself included. Maybe I'm not. But so here's my analogy is what if you were using a telephone from 20 years ago? What if I had a drawing today and I said, hey, I'm going to give away a free phone today. And I gave away and Aaron Beck won it. And I sent him a phone from 30 years ago. I sent him a landline phone that's a dial up with a cord. Aaron wouldn't be that fired up about it. Even if I sent Aaron an iPhone 2, he'd be like, well, I want an iPhone 15. Like we're going to keep up with technology, but we might be doing the same warm up. We might be doing the same weight workout. We might be doing all that stuff. So you should always be looking to improve things. And Matt Nally, Matt, let me make you the co-host on this. Can you hear me, Matt? I think you might be muted, buddy. Let me see. Yeah, you're muted.
Yes, sir. I can hear you. I'm sorry.
Okay, good. Y'all. So Coach Nally is, let me make co-host. Coach Nally is the head coach at Melissa High School, which is how far north of Dallas are we, Matt?
Probably 20, 25 minutes.
Okay. So I'm in the coach's office. The facility is unbelievable. If I've got some pictures I put in the Fast and Wide WhatsApp, but you should Google Melissa High School Football Stadium. So Matt, thanks for being with us today.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Matt has coached 21 years, the last 8 as a head coach, and very successful. So Matt, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll let you crank this thing out for us.
Yeah. So, I've been coaching for 21 years. I learned early in my career that I'm not a very smart guy, and I don't know it all. So I've stolen things from people for many years. The first time I met Randy, he let me come and talk to him for 2 days when he was at Poteet. So I learned that finding a mentor, or finding people that will allow you to come and listen to them is a big deal. So me having success that I've had, it really is on the shoulders of other people, and them allowing me to come in and listen to them and learn from them. So this warm up I got, I've stole it from a few other people, and I kind of blended it to make my own. To me, I'm 42. Coach Jackson said it earlier today, but most coaches and most kids want to get off the bus and play. And being a young guy, I want to have fun, but I also want to make sure that the kids are in a situation where they don't have too much time on their hands to kind of screw around, but also make it fun because they're fixing to play a game. So that's where I got it from. That's kind of the mindset moving forward with our pregame. And there's a lot of people that love it, and there's a lot of people that think that that we're kind of too playing aroundish and whatnot. But it's very organized, and like I said, we're gonna have fun, and we're gonna have fun with it. So the game should be that way, and kids should be allowed to have a little fun.
Okay, Matt. So, when did you go, hey, I think I want to change warm up? It's just something, we got so many things to worry about. When did warm up becoming better enter your mind?
So at the end of the year, I do, senior exit interviews. I do player interviews. I do all those things. Well, I also do one-on-one coaches interviews. And in those interviews, we just talk about the good and the bad of the program. It's not a coach's eval or anything like that. It's just, hey, if you were me as the head coach, what would you do to change some things up? And one of my coaches said, hey, I think pregame's too long. How about, I was talking to this strength guy in Texas. How about we go talk to this strength guy in Texas? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I was like, no, I've been doing the same thing for forever. And it's the way that I like it. And I don't really think it's that big of a deal. And I went and I started talking to a trainer. And he was not a high school trainer. He was a college trainer. And he was discussing some of the stuff that they did pregame wise. And I was like, you know what? I guess I'm just going to, I'm going to go out there and try to learn something. But I did not think I was going to. So I went and I talked to that guy at Texas, and he really changed my mind in the regards of pregame.
Awesome. So I'm just going to shut up and listen. Matt and I have already talked some today. We're going to go from Friday morning. We're going to go from game day morning all the way through, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
So you're a co-host, Matt. So if you want to share your screen or whatever, if you just want to talk us through it, but we're going to go through 7 a.m. to whenever.
I am having some difficulty with my computer in the regards of showing a screen. It's doing updates right now with my Zoom, so I apologize. But I'll go through it, and then like once again, if I'll give it to Coach Jackson, and he can put it in the vault or whatever. So so I firmly believe that every day, every game day should start with a message of the day. So we meet in our team meeting room, and we meet for about 10 minutes, and we do nothing but a coach's message. So Each week, a different coach has a message that he speaks about. I don't give that coach, the word of the week or whatever. I don't do that. It's whatever's on that coach's heart that he feels like he needs to talk about. He does that. So that's our first 10 minutes. After that, now we're blessed. We have an indoor. So after that, we go into our indoor and we do a walkthrough. So we'll do our special teams walkthrough, and then we'll do our offense and defensive walkthrough. And then the kids go back to class around 9. So when the kids come back, which I'll just give you a home game. So a home game, our bell rings at 4:05. So the kids have got to be back in the field house at 4:58. So at 4:58, they're back in the field house. I'm sorry, at 4:08. I said 4:58. 4:08, they're back at the field house. 4:05, the bell rings. 4:08, they're back at the field house. At 4:10, they're doing individual film with their individual coach. Just some last second film watch. And that lasts 15 minutes. And after that, we do at 4:25, we do a team meeting. So a team meeting, a team film session, and it's a unit. So it's a defensive team and it's an offensive team. So that's 15 minutes of watching it together again as a team. And then we come together, and once again, we're blessed. We have a team room, so we can split it in half, and the offense is on one side and the defense is on the other side. So then what we'll do is we'll take the partition out, and we'll have a team meeting. And in that team meeting, we'll do special teams, all that final stuff, special teams call out, if there's any special teams film, things like that. And that normally lasts about 10 minutes. And then Texas. So we're going to pray with each other and whatnot. We're going to give the final kind of things you need to look for and whatnot for that night. And then we send the kids to go eat. The kids eat for 20 minutes. So, and once again, we're blessed here at Melissa. We have people that feed our kids and whatnot. So super blessed. But at 5 o'clock, we have quiet time. So from 5 to 5:20, they can't have a cell phone or anything like that. It's just a moment that they're with themselves. And I say that and I lied. It's whatever you want to do during that quiet time. It just has to be quiet. If you have your cell phone and listen to music, whatever. It just has to be quiet during that time. And then what we do is, this is kind of where I started getting things from the University of Texas and the University of Oregon, where we started kind of mending those both together. So when I went and talked to the guy from Texas, the trainer at Texas, or the strength and conditioning guy at Texas, he was like, you burn so many calories and you are doing so much in a pregame that it's like playing a half of football before the kids even go play a game. So that was profound to me. I was like, okay, well, we'll kind of explain that more. And he said, well, most people go out there and they stay out there too long. Most people go out there and do too much stuff during pregame, and kids are worn out. Now, kids aren't going to tell you that, but kids are worn out. We live in an era where it's an information data collecting era. So everyone's got a catapult, everyone's got a GPS device and whatnot. And he's showing me data of them doing pregame old school wise, and then doing pregame the way they do it now. And it just really opened my eyes to the way the energy that's being exerted by kids before the game even started. So at 5 o'clock to 5:20, we do individual and out in the stadium. And the reason being is it takes away time that you're not the kids aren't jacking around or whatever the case may be, but it gives you some time to really work on some stuff that you want to work on, and B, it really allows you to kind of, get out there, do some stretching and whatnot. You're not just sitting around chilling and doing anything. And like I said, the kids could get in trouble and whatnot. So we go out there from 5 to 5:20, and everybody has a agenda that they have to accomplish. So like, I'll just go with everyone starts with a static stretch. So it's about a 2-minute static stretch. It's about a 3-minute dynamic stretch. And then you have 15 minutes of more or less individual and group time. So our quarterbacks, they go through that static and that dynamic, and then they'll start doing some individual stuff for 5 minutes, and then the running backs will come over and they'll work on mesh and things for 5 minutes, and then the last 5 minutes they'll do kind of like old school pat and go with the receivers. Our offensive line is working their stuff. Our defense, everyone's doing their own thing. But like I said, it's more group, and it's whatever you want to do. I'm kind of a I don't want to say micromanager, and that's not the word, but I like things to be extremely organized. So I want to know what my inside backer coach is doing with my defensive line and whatnot. So I structure it that way. They did not do that at the University of Texas. It was you guys go out there and you do whatever you want to do. I do not like, and I know a lot of people do it, but I don't like about when the kids go out there right when they get there and they throw the ball around or whatever the case may be. The reason I don't like that is I'm afraid a kid's going to sprain an ankle before a game or whatnot. So I don't believe that. I really liked it to be a little bit more organized. So after that 20 minutes, you come back in and it's literally 20 minutes of downtime, which I really loved because of the fact of, once again, kids aren't going around doing stupid stuff or whatever the case may be. But our first group gets taped right when we walk in. So right when they walk in, first group gets taped, which is all your skill kids and all your kickers and holders. They get taped. And then coach, they're right back outside.
Can I pause you, Matt?
Yeah.
So, and I'm doing this so you can take a break too, but I'm going to when y'all go out at 5 o'clock for that 20 minutes, you're not in helmets or anything, or are you?
No, coach, we're just shirts and shorts. It's very lax. I would say probably the most thing that is the most rigorous is the stretching. Everything else is very much so, 50%, you're just kind of, coach, kind of getting loose and kind of getting your mind right and whatnot. So, but yeah, no, it is just shirts and shorts.
Well, and kids don't have to be taped to do it.
Mm-mm.
It's really not. So here, I'm just in synopsis. When the kid shows up, we're going to watch individual film, group film, special teams. We're going to eat and have quiet time. And it's all this stuff you're going to give me so I can put it in Google Drive.
Right.
And then we're going to go out from five for 20 minutes. And it's not so much we're warming up for the game, but it's just so they're not sitting around in the locker room. And because as we know as coaches, that's the worst. I mean, I think I would enjoy this as a coach because you're giving me something to do, right? I can go out there and be with my kids on the field, and I'm not just sitting here twiddling my thumbs and if we're going to cover the first kickoff or not.
Right. My inside backer coach, I really liked what he did. I mean, it was an extra time to go out and he's walking kids through formations and things like that. I mean, I know that, people can say that's overkill or whatever the case may be, but it's an opportunity. I feel better as a coach that I've gotten every second I could potentially get in to coach this kid before he's fixing to go to war. So that was something else that I liked about it too, was it was like those extra little details before you got after it. So, but that was, and to me, it's the biggest thing about it is, and I'm going to piggyback off of you, Randy, is, man, I just get bored and I just can't, as a coach, just sit around and chill. I just can't do it. I have to be doing something. And I would rather be, out on the field with the kiddos doing football, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if you watch, if you've been to a Texas game, but they do the same exact thing. Now that they did whatever it was 2 or 3 years ago when I got it, my OC reminded me. So, but that's what we do first. Then we come in and I got the rest of this stuff from Oregon. So I'm going to start talking about some crazy stuff. And I say Oregon, this is Chip Kelly, Oregon. This is not Dan Lanning, Oregon. So I was fortunate enough to talk to him. Yes, sir.
So all right, I'm sorry. The downtime. Let's go back to downtime. Is it y'all and Matt and I have already visited because I said something about, hey, when do you take up their phones? Because y'all, 10 years ago, I had a kid breaking up with his girlfriend about 20 minutes before a third round playoff game. But I love talking about how different people think. Matt says, hey, we're not going to take up their phones. So from 5:20 to 5:40, they can have their phones and let's just spend 30 seconds on this or whatever. Why don't you take up their phones?
So at the beginning of the year, we talk about how honestly how dangerous the phone is, and how that phone can get you in so much trouble using it in a bad way. So we talk about taking pictures in the locker room, and we talk about videos in the locker room. And I tell them, guys, I don't care what you think, whatever. I don't care what you post on Snapchat, what you post on Instagram or whatever. I'm going to find out about it. So, yeah. But an old coach told me this, because I was kind of the same situation with Randy when the phones first came out. It was a nightmare, and we used to take them up, and kids would, gripe and complain, and parents, we'd have parent issues, and yada yada yada. But so this old coach told me, he said, "Coach, it's a part of their life. So you have to educate the kid what they can and cannot do with it. Don't take it from them." Okay. When you're in there and you have a moment, you allow that kid to be on the phone, and then you can say, hey, this is the time you put it away, but don't ever take it up. So what we do is we call it quiet time. Quiet time, you can have your phone, but everything's got to be quiet. Nothing. People, most of the time kids are getting on their headphones and listening to music. And then when we come back in, and I'll talk about it, we call it game time. So game time, there can be no phones, and it's only 5 minutes. So we literally say you cannot have your phone on for 5 minutes. And that's right before our chaplain comes in and talks and things like that. So, but I just, he told me, he said, Coach, it's part of their life. And you're going to be that guy that's going to fight with a kid over a phone before a game. And that's not a battle that you want to fight. Like, just let it go. You have to live in the times. You can't live, like for me personally, I think kids should show up and turn their phones in or not even bring a phone to school. But that's just not the world that we live in. So I just don't believe in it. I'm not going to have that fight. People can talk about that kid from North Shore that wouldn't give his phone up before the game in the state championship game, and he didn't play. Now North Shore won, and I hate to be this way, but I'm just not going to fight that fight with kiddos. It's almost like, when back in the day when I was a kid, if somebody said they were going to take away my tips off my pickup truck, that was just a part of my life, and whatnot. So, but I'm just not going to fight that fight when it comes to cell phones. And the big thing too is I ain't listening to the music they're listening to. So I'm going to let them listen to whatever they want to listen to, and I'm not listening to it.
So downtime, they can do whatever they want to, but we don't want to hear other people's phones. But they have from 5:20 to 5:40 just to have a little time.
Mm-hmm. And Coach, like, people get prepared for a game differently.
Yeah.
Like I had a receiver that he would sit in a corner and he put his headphones on and listen to music, and he just sat in that corner. Well, my inside backer, it was like he would have his headphones on and, he's pacing around everywhere and whatnot. I think everybody has to have their moment. It can't be the way that I would prepare myself for a game. Once again, I'm not playing the game. They're playing the game. They've got to get themselves mentally correct. I'm not going to tell them how to get ready mentally.
Here's what I love about this. We had quiet time at Greenville this past year, and it was from 4:15 to 4:40 or something. I love how you're going on the field and you're doing some things, and then your downtime seems more like you kind of feel like when you see it in the NFL or college, where your downtime is way closer to game time. And I think this is something that I would change for sure. So after downtime, take us through the next steps.
So once again, this is straight from Oregon back in the day, and before I implemented it, I went to I'd say buddy, my colleague now that was the strength guy at Texas, and he was like, "That's how everybody does it." And I was like, "Okay, great, that makes me feel a little bit better." The reason that I picked the Oregon one was because it's fun, and I want to have fun, and when it comes to practice, when it comes to walkthroughs, when it comes to all that stuff, guys, I mean, I'm going to play music. We're going to have a good time. So make a long story short, I wanted to have a good time with it. So we go out and we phase it. So our skill kids go out first. Our skill kids, our kickers, our snappers, our holders, they all go out. When they go out and they go out at 6:05, and I'm sorry, 6 o'clock. And when they go out, our second group gets taped. So they go out, and when they go out, they do a quick dynamic stretch, and then they're getting ready for the next group. So the next group comes out, and that's running backs, receivers, and DBs. They come out at 6:05. So from 6 to 6:05, all those kids are stretching. At 6:05, my running backs, receivers, and DBs come out. When they come out at 6:07, and I'm sorry, guys, I'm to the minute organization, so I apologize. But 6:07, my running backs, receivers, and DBs are all stretching a static stretch. I'm sorry, a dynamic stretch. At 6:10, we're doing pat and go, old school pat and go. No, and just jogging through it, nothing big. At 6:14, we're punting, kicking, all that. We're old school county fair. And whatnot. So, but during that time from 6:10 to 6:19, so 6:14 to 6:19, we're doing county fair. From 6:10 to 6:19, my kids are doing pat and go. So pat and go, short pat and go, long pat and go. Well, at 6:19, they go back in. And once again, when I was doing this, I was like, because normally I had them out and I kept them out. The guy said, that's where you're screwing up at. Because normally at 6:05, I would phase it in just like everyone does. But from 6:19, they don't come back out until 6:36. So they go back in for about 18, 19 minutes. And he was like, for 18, 19 minutes, those kids are running around all the time during a game. So why would you keep those kids out? Let them go back in there. Let them get hydrated. Let them take a seat and not wear them out. So they come back in, and our big guys come out at 6:24. So our O-line, D-line, linebackers come out. They stretch at 6:26, and then they're doing a walkthrough, indie walkthrough, things like that, group walkthrough from 6:26 to 6:36. And we do it in like a phase. So like they come out at 6:26, they'll come out, they'll do a quick static stretch. And I think that lasts 2 minutes. And I let my position coaches, so we have our main list here, and then my position coaches have their own list of what they're doing during that time. So it's about a 2 minute static, and it's about, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it's like a 5 minute indie and a 5 minute group with those people. And then everyone comes out at 6:36. So this is where people start looking at us like we're kind of a crazy people. But once again, I got it from Oregon. I think it's fun. So at 6:36, everybody's out. At 6:37, we call it's called we just line up. Okay, so the lineup goes. The kids line up from the 3-yard line, and they're standing on the hash. So inside the hash, outside the hash, at the 3-yard line, and they're lined up all the way down the field. And we have about 80 kids on the varsity, so it goes to about, I don't know, the 35, 40-yard line. And the coaches line up. So you have 2 lines of kids. The coaches line up, and we run through the kids. And it's kind of like just a, hoopla, hey, let's go, type of deal. So every coach runs through and gives kids high fives and whatnot as they go through. When the coaches are done, the kids fall off and they line up all the way on the goal line. Whereas the coaches go and line up starting on the 45 in a crescent shape around the 45 facing the other team. I'm the only coach that stays with the team. So they're all lined up across the goal line, and they do 5 deals, 5 exercises that they know. So I give a little speech beforehand, a little 30-second speech, and I'll say ready, and they'll say ready, and I blow a whistle. They'll jog from the 20 back, and then they'll turn, face the home stands. They'll do karaoke for 10, flip, karaoke the other 10, jog back. They'll backpedal for 10, flip, go to the 20, jog back. They'll come back and they'll step. We just call it step and twist. I don't know the correct term for it, but you'll step and just twist, like getting a lunge and twist. You do that for 10 yards. You go to the 20 and come back, and then you jog to the 20 and come back. I got that straight from the University of Oregon and Chip Kelly.
Matt, is it possible? Like, I'm really visual, so I might be the only one, but I'm not following. Is it possible? Can you draw this for me? Like, is it possible? Like, I don't know. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
So
now there's a whiteboard on here. If you'd rather use a whiteboard like on the screen, or you can draw it.
Coach, I am. Let me try to use this whiteboard, Coach. Okay. I don't know, Coach. I don't know if I can do that. I'm just going to draw it up on this board, Coach. I apologize.
Okay. No.
So stop me if you can't see this. But here's the goal line. So the kids come out and we pick the right hash. So it's a 3-yard line at the right hash. And I'm starting off with the lineup. So the kids will come out, the big boys are out. Here comes the skill kids, and they line up all the way down on both sides. Like that. Okay.
Yeah, this is perfect, Matt.
So they'll line up like that. Well, the coaches will line up here, and the coaches will go through, and like I said, we're clapping hands and all that stuff as we go. Coaches go through. I'm the first one normally, so I'll come and I'll peel off. The rest of the coaches, there's the 50-yard line, and you can Google this. Oregon warm up, whatever the case may be. There's the 50. Well, the coaches start at the 45, and they're in a crescent. So each position coach lines up like that. Okay. So you go through, well, the kids peel off and they line up on the goal line. So when all the coaches go through, the coaches break off and the kids line up on the goal line. Okay. Now, I'm going to erase this. Now the kids are on the goal line. I am the only coach there. So whatever, I'll be standing at the 5, 10-yard line, give my little speech, 30-second speech, and then the kids have 5 exercises. If I can spell exercises. They have 5 exercises. The first one is they'll jog to the 20 and back. You know, hold this for me. Thank you. They'll jog to the 20 and back. And once again, they know it. I don't tell them what to do. They'll jog to the 20 back. So jog 20 and back. The second one, they're going to face the home stands or wherever we're playing that week. They're going to face our fans, and they're going to do karaoke. I don't know how to spell karaoke. I went to Frankston High School, so I apologize. So they're going to do karaoke for 10 yards, and then they'll flip and do karaoke the other way for 10 yards, and then they'll come back. They'll jog back. The second one or the third one is a back pedal. And once again, I didn't come up with these. I stole it. They'll hit right when they hit. They'll backpedal for 10, and then they'll flip and jog the rest of the 10, turn around and jog back. The third one, guys, I just call it lunge and twist. I don't know what the technical term is, but they'll lunge and twist for 10 yards. They'll get up, jog to the 20 and come back. And the last one is just the jog again. So they'll hit there on lunge and twist. They'll turn around and jog and come back and line back up. Once they line up here, they'll hit a knee. So when you're done, you let me know when you're done is when you're on a knee. So I have 80 kids that'll be lined up on this goal line on a knee. When everyone's done, I'll say ready. They'll say ready. I'll blow the whistle, and everyone is sprinting to their position coach. So normally, this is my quarterback line. This is my offensive line. This is my defensive line. You can do it wherever you want to do it. For us, we really emphasize our O-line, D-line kids, so we want them to be up front. And then I have my team captains, my leader of the team will be right here. And I'm right here. So once we get there, there's hooping and hollering with each position coach and the kids. It's a time to slap hands and, chest bump and all those things as you do it. Now, when I was talking to the coach at Oregon, what he told me was, and there's a story about it online, I think, was what he was telling me about it. Some kid, maybe it was Aaron Rodgers back then. I don't know. I can't remember who he was talking about. But he said, this is the most intimidating thing to do to the team. And I don't know, Coach Jackson, I don't know if they even cared, but he said that this is the thing that gets teams the most, is most people are lined up back here. You're doing your spell out and all that stuff where you're not really on the team. You're not really, showing your presence to the team. Well, we're on the 50-yard line. Like most of the time when we get to this point, most of the time the other team is right here. There's been sometimes that teams are in the middle of doing their pregame offense and we're doing this. So we want to make sure that our presence is felt before the game even started. So make a long story short, we come here and this kid will be standing there and I'll say, ready. The kids will say, ready. I'll blow the whistle. And now this is where we get a little old school. I'll blow the whistle and everybody will get down in an attack stance. And then I'll blow the whistle. I took this from Ohio State and Urban Meyer, but get here, blow the whistle 5 times. So it's just old school, tweet, 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 tweet. On the 5th one, I'll blow it twice. They'll come back into a attention set. And then he'll say, Cardinal spell out, ready. They say ready. He says exercise, and it's CARDS. Cards. When they get back in the attack stance, I'll blow the whistle, and everyone comes together on this kid right here. Once again, I like it just because of the fact of it's intimidating to them. That's me. And once again, I got that from the coach. I stole it from Oregon.
It was. I'll just interrupt you. It was cool, right? And it was like I put this in the chat, but I'm like, yes, I peed down my leg a little bit, So, but it's just a cool thing. I mean, I've never seen it before. And y'all, for a guy who's coached 33 years, Matt didn't tell me about this warm up or anything. I'm like, this is cool. So we got a question here, Coach. Are they without pads? Or y'all fully dressed here?
At that point, it's full dress. It's full dress, Coach. So our skill come out in our skill come out with their bottoms and their helmets. Our bigs come out full ready to go. The second time our skill comes back out, they're full ready to go.
Okay. Good question.
So then at that point in time, once again, it gets a little crazy, but once again, it's fun and we enjoy it. Everyone breaks off. So our O-line, D-line guys are gone. Everyone's gone except our skill kids. Our skill kids are there. Now, when I was talking to this guy from Oregon, he was like, what do you want to do if you're a skill kid? The most important thing to do is activate your hands. Now, I don't know what that means. I have no idea. But he was like, you want to activate your hands before you play a game. So they do the 3-man weave. So we do the 3-man weave. and our kids do it. And I got some young coaches on staff, and they do it. So we do the 3-man weave, all these groups all the way down. We start at the 40, and we do 3-man weave with a football all the way down to the goal line, and then everybody does it and comes back, or everyone goes down, and then everyone comes back. And when we come back, we have a big, huge trash can, and people are alley-ooping, people are going under the legs and whatnot, and dunking it in that trash can. Once again, just have fun. Don't know why, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't steal that from Oregon. My coaches got involved in it, and they started doing it a few years ago, and then now it's probably the biggest thing that happens in pregame is the dunking.
When I saw that, Coach, when I saw 3-man weave and the dunking, that's when I said, I'm going to get Matt to speak to my guys. Like, 3-man weave and the dunking is fun. It's fun. It looks cool. The kids are having fun. And like you say, they're touching the football. I can't emphasize enough, y'all. This is cool stuff, So yeah, the 3-man weave. Now I'm going to interrupt you. I got a question here from David. How do you, and this might be something, Coach, we might need to address at the end, but how do you time things up for away games, meals, and quiet time and stuff? Let's get through this, I guess, and let's handle that at the end. That might be easier.
Yeah. So after the 3-man weave, I'm going to get my list here. The 3-man weave, everyone goes to their position coach. And in that situation, I really believe, and a lot of people don't believe in this, but the kids are going to war. So, and I say this, once again, I stole it, guys. I didn't do it myself. But the guy from Oregon told me, he was like, you got to do one-on-ones before the game starts. And it's got to be 100% effort, good on good. You've got to do it. Kids are fixing to go to war. You've got to make sure they're ready to go. It can't be the first time they hit somebody from Thursday. It's got to be before then. So we do one-on-ones. Our O-line, D-line does one-on-ones at that time. Everyone else is doing individual. Once again, guys, I apologize. I'll figure this out, and I'll give it to Coach Jackson, and you guys can see it. Sorry, Coach.
Well, I'm sorry. I was going to say, I was talking to Coach Russell earlier. Maybe before y'all spring game or something, you could video this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. And if not, I'm going to sneak on to. I'll be the guy wearing sunglasses, and I'll be videoing it or something. And you won't
yeah, easy. So we do our position. We do, and I'll just go from the time. So we line up at 6:37, 6:38. We do the dynamic warm up, and that's the line, or that's the kids doing those 5 exercises. We call it the U when the kid or the coaches are in that crescent situation. We call it the U. That's at 6:41. At 6:42, we do the 3-man weave. That takes 2 or 3 minutes. But guys, we're so advanced at it. It takes us 2 minutes. So 6:44, we go to position coaches and one-on-ones. From 6:44 to 6:50, they're doing one-on-ones. I just firmly believe it. One-on-one pass rush, one-on-one down blocks, one-on-one, all those things that you could possibly think of that a D-line, O-lineman has to do. That's what we're doing at that time, and it's full speed, get after it. From 6:47 to 6:50, we do ROAs. And the way that we do ROAs, I mean, you can do it in many ways you want to, but we have 2 Qs and we have receiver. We only stay on one side. We don't go back and forth. We just stay on one side and throw it towards the 50. So we do ROAs, and then this is something that I just firmly believe in, and a lot of people don't do it. And I'm from East Texas, and a coach from East Texas told me this a long time ago, but we do team. So we do team defense first, and we run their plays against us, and we do it for 5 minutes. So, I mean, and the guys, there's so many great things out there, and I don't want to be the guy that's soliciting things, but we use something called the coach pad that is just amazing. You don't have to do a card anymore, nothing like that. And then we do what's called go route, which is the most amazing thing when it comes to practicing and things like that. But I can talk about that later. But we have a coach that has a coach pad, and we're going through their plays. And we do that for 5 minutes. So I'm going back to my East Texas roots. So we do team defense for 5 minutes, and then we do team offense for 5 minutes. Well, my mentor in East Texas said, "Hey, man, nobody's watching that. People, what do? They go over there and they're going to watch your defense, how you're lining up. But make a long story short, nobody's really. So run your plays. So your scripted plays, run them. You know, they can't stop it, but your kids are doing it. They're doing it before the game. The last time they didn't do it was the last time they did it was Thursday. So run your plays during that time. And I'm not going to lie, there's times that we do it and there's times that we don't do it. But when we were playing Coach Jackson this year, we ran 10 plays. It was the first 10 plays that we ran before we played. It was that script.
That's cool.
Just to allow the kids to get one more time doing it. So we do that. And then after that, we kick 2 PATs and we have 2 field goals. We don't get off the field. This is a 7:30 game. We don't get off the field until 7:10. From 7:10 to 7:17. Once again, I just let the kid, they come in, they hydrate, things like that. From 7:10 to 7:15, I allow them to be back on their phone. From 7:15 to 7:17 is what we call game time. You got to put your phone away. Okay. And I have a coach in there, and it's usually my offensive line coach, the guy that's pardon my French, but it's the biggest dick on the team, or the biggest dick in the coaching staff is normally the offensive line coach. And game time, and every kid puts their phone up. And then at 7:17, we do a prayer. 7:19, that's when I talk. Or 7:17, we have a chaplain come in and talk. 7:19, I talk. 7:22, we line up, run through, blah, 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 all those things. So that's really what we do in a nutshell. I know that's a lot. And I can film it, Coach. Our kids could probably walk out right now here and do it. So we've been doing it for so long. But once again, they remember it because it's fun. I remember some things that, when I was a kid and I did it because it sucked, and I don't want to do that. I want to do things because it's fun. And that's a big deal for me, is just that fun piece of it. And that's something that, I think is priceless. And I think we take that for granted sometimes, that, we do live in 1990 or 1985. But once again, it goes back and it takes load off of kids. It's not a phase like we used to phase it in, where it was a full hour and 10 minutes, the kids on the field. It's more of a 3-phase type of deal. And it takes load off of the kids. And that's the biggest deal. And not just the load off the kids, but it takes that extra mileage before the game starts off the kiddos. But once again, like I said, you can't beat having fun. And that's a thing too, that I think that, when everyone that we play, everyone asks me after we play them, can you tell me about that warm up? Everyone asks me while it's going on, wow, can you tell me about that warm up? And once again, like I said, I didn't come up with it. We kind of did blend a couple things together. But you know how it is. You kind of always want to be on the cutting edge. So with that being said, that's really it in a nutshell. And I will give it to Coach Jackson. And anything I can do to help you guys out, please let me know. I think he's in there talking to our superintendent. So, hey there, Mr. Murphy, how's it going? That's our superintendent of schools, Mr. Murphy. So, but like I said, if I've known Randy for a long time, and Randy's helped me out so much. And if I can help you guys out, please let me know. But yeah, what's those questions, Randy? I'm sorry.
We had one question, y'all, and I'm going to open it up to anybody, y'all. But the first question is, when you're on the road, how do you tweak all this stuff?
So the first thing I do is, whoever we're playing, and I've been very, very fortunate that, the guys have been pretty awesome, but whoever I'm playing, I ask them, what is the walk from the locker room to the field? And that's the first thing that I do. So like we played China Spring this year. It was a 7-minute walk. So like that's what I'm doing on Sunday. I'm figuring out on Sunday how we're going through this entire thing. And I got the weekend organization from Randy. I don't know how many years ago it was. I think he got it from Alabama. So that's what I'm doing on Sunday. On Sunday, I'm walking through that and how we're going to do it and whatnot, based off of how long it takes to walk from a locker room to the field. And that's one of the conversations I'm having with the opposite coach beforehand. So, I mean, it's not like Melissa, you walk right out on the field. It's a 30-second walk. When we played Greenville a couple years ago, hell, it might have been a 7-minute walk, 5 to 7 minute walk from the visitor locker room to the deal. So that's really how it does. And besides that, like we're having Sunday meetings, and when we have that Sunday meeting, we always talk about pregame. Okay, hey guys, it's a 5-minute walk, whatever the case may be, and I'm trying to get people's input too, but the whole structure of it usually stays the same.
So let me ask you this. So at home, kids are getting there at 4:08.
Mm-hmm.
On the road, what time? You're not getting, of course, I know you're not getting to the opponent's field house at 4:08. What time are you trying to get there? And then
4:45 to 5, Coach. I want the kids at 5 o'clock at the very latest. I want the kids off the bus. I tell them this: 5 o'clock, they're taking a piss or they're taking a dump. That's what I want. And I'm sorry, guys, for being so East Texas there, but at 5 o'clock, those kids are peeing and dumping because at 5:20 they're on the field. So I want to get there, Coach. You know how it is. You want to get there earlier than later, but 4:45 is where I kind of judge it, between 4:45, but 5 o'clock is the deadline.
Okay, so on the road, and David, if you're still on here, you jump in. But on the road, you're not really worried as much about individual teams, special teams, but the Oregon 6 o'clock and all that stuff's never changing. Of course, are y'all doing downtime on the road?
Yeah, Coach, nothing changes. So like everything stays exactly the same. So if I'm on the road, I'm still bringing the kids in. We're still watching indie film. We're still watching unit film. We're still doing special teams film. We do all those things. Everything stays exactly the same. Now I'm fortunate enough that, my admin lets me do, pretty much whatever. But
you're doing that at home? You're doing that at home and then getting on the bus?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's where I was confused, because if you're getting at 5 o'clock, then I know.
No. Yeah, no, Coach, it's at the house.
Okay. So basically, when you get on the road, the Oregon stuff is what you're starting with, that stuff when you get to the stadium. Is that
right?
Is that fair? Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And Coach, I don't know if you noticed, but like Baylor used to do it. Oregon used to, they go out there and they're lifting weights and stuff like that. And I know there's some people that still do that, and I've never done it. And the reason I've never done it is because I was talking to this guy from Oregon, and they had stopped doing it just because of the fact that they didn't really see the benefit of doing those things and playing a football game. They were talking about warming the body up, and they were like, well, let's do football to warm the body up. Let's not lift a weight or whatever the case to warm the body up. So I've never done that, but that's kind of where it started at, was, doing weights and stuff like that. And then it just kind of turned into, hey, let's do football and not weights.
Dr. Gilbert put a question in the chat. If you're not listening to Success Hotline, we can't be friends, but where can you find, you mentioned some of this, you could Google it, or can you find any of this on YouTube?
Yeah, Coach. So when he told me about it the first time, I was like, man, I have no idea what you're talking about, So I went to YouTube and I put in Oregon pregame, and there's a couple video clips of it. And because I knew because I had written down what he had said and he had described it to me, I knew what they were doing at that time, and I knew where the holes were and where the fill-ins were and whatnot. So, but yeah. Oregon YouTube, Oregon warm up or pregame. I can't remember exactly what it was, but yes.
Anybody with a question for Matt? We've had 68 people on here today, which is close to a record. Like, how cool is that? Yeah, Matt, you should feel
right.
I know, but it's what's so cool, y'all, is like, I'm going to start a new group, and it's going to be called the Field House. And if you're in Fast and Wide, you're going to get in it free, but it's going to be cheaper, and it's just going to be anything football, where you don't have to want to run the Baylor offense to be in it. And so be looking for some information on getting in the Field House. But it's going to be things like this. Like, we all do warm up. I don't care if you're slot T or whatever you are, we all do warm up. So how many people got better today? That's what fires me up. Here's a question from Coach Franklin. Does the heat have any impact on your warm up?
No, sir. The only thing that we do when it's really, really hot is we don't put the pads on until we come back out for the game. But I make the bigs bring it out because, Coach, we're still doing one-on-ones. We're still going to do it. I don't care. And I know what I'm about to say is crazy, but it's Texas. You're going to deal with the heat. We adjust times here in Texas to make it, if it's a 7 o'clock start and it's going to be really hot, we might adjust it to 8. And to be honest with you, I have never done it. We've talked about taking the pads off, but I've never done it, ever done it, just because of the fact of I have this coach in my head saying, hey man, like the last time, really, Coach, sometimes the last time people have hit it since Wednesday, and the way that some people practice. And I'm like, I'm not going to be the first time a kid hits somebody. It's been 48 hours. So we're going to do that one-on-one getting after it deal. And that deal. And people need to realize too, and I can't really do it justice. Maybe Coach Jackson can help me out, but this isn't full speed. It's really not full speed until you get into team. And the team, people are kind of flying around and whatnot. But we do it against scouts. So you can kind of, put your pads on somebody. But one-on-ones, it's pad on pad. Yeah, making a long story short, I probably sound like I don't know, a dictator or whatever the case may be, but I really don't care. Golly, that sounds bad that I said that, but
no, hey, can I put your email in the chat where I know people are gonna so y'all, this is gonna be Matt's email, and if you have other questions, we're not about to leave, but I know how it is, people are gonna want to contact you. So let me look at some other questions. Yes, guys, if you listen, if you get in the Field House, this is going to be on a video vault. But if you want this for free, I'm going to send it to you. Email me and I will share this with you on Google Drive. And it might be tomorrow or something. Coach, we got a Coach Peterson who says they really don't get but 25 minutes to warm up on the field prior to the game because fundraiser stuff.
Whoa.
I know. So, and honestly, that's why I thought, well, you probably want to email him some stuff or whatever, or be able to talk. But if you only had 25 minutes, what would be, I guess the you and one-on-ones and team would be what you just cut them down some. Is that how you do it?
I'll be honest. It might have been when we played Greenville. A couple of years ago. They had a situation where we couldn't get on the field early. I know it sounds crazy. We did most of it in the parking lot. The kids had flats on. For us, the U is always going to be in there. For us, it's always just because of the fact of that is who we are, and that is our kids have bought into. That is our intimidation factor. And our kids, I don't know if Randy can attest to it, but our kids get into that. Our kids love that. Our kids, it kind of feels like it's our attack cry almost. You're on the other team. You're imposing your will at that moment. We would always do that. And then probably in team, I would still do the 3-man weave just because I know what my kids love it. My kids now have choreographed dunks. You know what I mean? So they'll go in and be like, hey, we're going to be in a group and I'm going to throw it to you. You're going to throw it to me. And, I'm going to bounce it off my head. I'm going to catch it, go behind the back and dunk it. You know what I mean? So that to me is too neat and whatnot. And I hate to say this because it's kind of like faux pas in our profession, but I don't want everything to be so serious all the time. I wanted, hey, let's kind of just take a break from, kicking ass and taking names and just have fun for a second.
Yeah, love it. Anybody else, y'all, with a question for Coach Nally? It's been pretty straightforward. Man, I just can't thank you enough. Like, I'm excited about this new group called the Field House because we can talk about all this kind of stuff, and it doesn't have to be art brawls, wide splits, offense stuff. So, guys, I'll be emailing you stuff about how to get in the Field House, and we're going to talk about all things football. And again, for you guys that are in Fast and Wide, you'll get a free membership to the Field House. But that's just my next venture, and again, I'm going to make it cheap, and we're going to talk about things like this. So, Matt, it was awesome. Oh, here's a question. How hard was it for you to get your old school coaches on board with this warm up?
All right, golly, this is going to sound bad. I'm going to go back to my East Texas. I'm the head football coach. They can kiss my ass. They're going to do it. You know what I'm saying? I hate to be that way, but it's once again, you talk about these guys and you talk about 1985 and whatnot. Like, guys, kids have changed. The game has changed. Guys, I run this offense. It's changed. I was talking to Randy about this beforehand. When I learned it, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This is it. But it's evolved. You have to evolve with the time. And it's with everything that we do, with the weight room, warm-ups, practice, the whole thing. You have to be able to evolve. So when I have these conversations with them, I'm like, guys, look, here's the data. The data states that the old ways of doing it is putting a kid playing 6 quarters and not 4. We don't want to do that. Obviously, we're going to put our kids in a situation where they're going to, expend some energy and some calories before the game starts. But here's the scientific data. And a lot of people don't want to listen to scientific data, which is fine too. But for me, I'm a science teacher. So that's a big deal for me, is the science piece of it. But, once again, like, hey, this is how we're going to do it. I've coached, I'm not going to lie to you, Coach Jackson. I have coaches every year that say, man, that's awesome. And then I have coaches every year say, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, for me, it's fun for me. 99% of the coaches I have on staff, it's fun for them. And I say, most of the coaches are like you, Coach Jackson, that come to me afterwards and are like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. How can you speak to me about that? It's normally the guys that, are a little bit older, or guys that know me personally, that just want to take a jab at me. You know what I mean, Coach? So that say anything negative about it. But for me, the data doesn't lie. When you have these guys who are way smarter than me, come in and say, hey, this is what is best for kids, and this is what's going to help them in the regards to perform better. And we do things with nutrition before the games too. And yeah, that's a different story for a different day. But I'm going to listen to the people who are way smarter than me. I don't even know where to put a comma at in some sentences. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, why would I not listen to these other people, who are just smarter than me? Like, I can draw up a trap and corner and things like that, but I don't know anything about, how kids freeze and blah, 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 blah. Coach, how the best. That's been my relief.
I've had good internet signal, so I'm hoping it's okay. Can anybody hear me? Y'all, I've kind of not sure I've had good signal for a second. If you can hear me. Okay.
You're back now.
Good. Thank you for you guys who. Hey, I'm going to say this. Coach Nally got kicked out and he's coming back on, but I'm a big Pete Carroll guy. And if you haven't read Win Forever, you're missing out. But here's what Pete Carroll says in Win Forever. You should fascinate your players every day. You should fascinate them. This warm-up is fascinating, right? And you should, everything you do, you should want to do better than it's ever been done before. So this warm-up is better than I've been doing it. This warm-up would fascinate players, and it's better than most warm-ups I've ever seen. It's better than any I've ever seen. So that's, again, you're probably not on this Zoom if you're not a growth mindset person, but Matt, this has been awesome, man. And y'all, Matt is going to get me this stuff on paper, and I'm going to put it in our Google Drive, but I'll also email it to you if you want it. If you want the video, email me. And again, if the field house, there's going to be stuff like this every week. So Matt, we appreciate you, buddy. And I don't want, just out of respect for Matt's time, I don't want to keep him, but Matt's email is in here, and email him if you have any other questions. Contact me if you want to learn how to get in the field house. You'll be getting an email, but we all got better today, Matt, and we appreciate you, my friend. All right. Appreciate you guys. Y'all, we got guys like Rick Jones on here with 9 state titles, just got better on warm up, so Aaron Beck, we got a bunch of guys I'm looking at on this Zoom with state titles, and Matt, you got us all better today. So thanks so much. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next Zoom.